Man, it has been so long since I brought these boards out. I think today makes perfect sense as to why I'm going to do that. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a little drawing video that I wanted to just do because I got projects to do and I just wanted to record some things. So that's what this entire video is basically going to be about. I got all of my inks together, all of my regular inking stuff, and even some extra inking stuff. This one right here is the Lamy Safari fountain pen. This is probably one of my favorite inking pens that I have used in the past year. For no real reason, but I just like how it looks. It just has a nice, cool nib. Nice, cool silver nib. The other ones come in black, but this one right here is super fine, and because of that, it's just super thin. I've come to really like it a lot more than I think I should have, but as I have been doing all of my inking for my classes over the past year, this is basically the main setup that I've actually had for the most part. Here are some of the things that I am going to try to get done during today's session. I don't know how long this entire thing is going to be, but it'll be as long as I think it should be. So this is Magik and Dark Child. I wanted to do a portrait, but I wasn't too sure about how to go about doing that. I used the Marvel Rivals model as a reference, but I think I might make some changes to the armor over the next couple of hours or minutes or however long I actually do this with. If I get to it, this is another one. This is actually from a script I'm working on now, and hopefully it actually comes out the same way that I'm looking for it to come out. Not too sure. But the next one that I actually want to do is this one right here. This is my character Alice, and the script, same script, two different scenes. But if I can get this one done right and actually do some Jack Kirby stuff that I want to do, I'm going to be very happy with this because this is something I actually want to show my students when I'm done working on it about different inking techniques when we get to that point. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Throwing it on my main board just in case I need to actually lift it up, which I'm probably going to need to do. I like to use my kneaded eraser, which allows it to just be elevated just a little bit at a slight angle. All right, so Darkchild is supposed to be the evil slash corrupted persona of Magik in Marvel Comics. Now, as someone who has not played Marvel Rivals in however many years it actually has been, I think it's been like 40 years or something like that, I have no idea how this character acts and behaves in the game. All I know is that they have one of the more favorable designs for, the entire thing that they're doing in the game. I like it. It's the only, all the gameplay I've seen has made the character look as cool as possible. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's use one of the more popular versions of this character's design and just draw them like that. Also, I have a friend who is completely obsessed with Magik and Tifa from Final Fantasy, but we're not going to talk about her. And I decided, let me show this friend some love and show this character a little bit of love too, just to see what I can do as I'm stretching my brain muscles to get back into the drawing scene. Also, I was using some purple ink beforehand, and I have to completely clean this up. So sorry about that. All right, so ink brush is clean. I'm gonna pull a Jim Lee and just start with the face right now. And I say that because every time I watch Jim Lee streams and he actually gets to the inking stage, he always draws the face first, or at least starts with the face details. So I am going to steal from him again because I always do. Jim Lee is one of my favorite peoples. So yeah, sorry if my hands move around a lot and move off the screen because it is between 30 and 50 degrees in my area because weather does not like to be consistent. And because of that, I'm probably going to have to warm my hands up every now and then. I think I did it right. I think I made a good decision on using the two. What is this? Yeah, yeah. Number two Micron. Even though this technically isn't actually a Micron, they just definitely copied the same design. This is from a different company that is slightly cheaper on Amazon, and I decided, hey, let's Let's save a couple of dollars. One thing I did learn from Jim Lee, other than starting with the face, is to do some squiggly lines that actually end up making stuff look, what's the word? Like something. Have no idea how to, I have no idea what other way to describe that as, but just learned, just learned that over time to just do stuff. And let's see. A little bit of forehead. And hair just to be over there. Darken the underside of the neck. Thinking about where the shadows are going to be right now, but over time I'm probably going to change it just a little bit. Also, the hairline for the back of the hair is a little all over the place, so I don't even have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about a lot of the actual hair, funny enough. So that's going to save me a lot of time. Going to go over this chin just a little bit and add a little dark to the lip. And there we go. So let's do a little bit of cheekbone right here. Just a little bit, nothing too crazy. I might do that anime thing where the eyebrows and the eyes go over the hair. Because why not? All right. I think I gave her a chunkier nose than she actually is used to, but oh well. I'll leave it right there for right now. Start lining out a little bit of the armor. I'm going to come back to this in a little bit, but we shall see. All right, now I'm just scribbling. I need to switch my marker. Switch the pen out, and let's do one thing first before I do that. Let's do a little bit of the underside of the eyes. There we go. Might do just a little bit of corruption on the eyes, since Darkchild is right there. Why not? Because demons are not a good influence on you children, or something like that. So I've been told. Some of my lines are going to be off. I can already see it for the spikes. Now that's going to be fun. That is going to be terrible, but fun. I was going to wait to do some hatching and some shadow adding, I don't know where that's a new term for me. Some shading. That's the right thing. I was going to wait to do that, but I think I missed some spikes when I was drawing this. Anyway, I was going to wait, but I think as I'm going, it's going to make more sense. Or at least lay down a couple of lines so that when I bring my brush over, I won't have too much to go over. I can just cover up some of these red areas when I get to the full ink stage. Let's see. Drawing her armor was not actually that bad. I didn't think it was going to be this easy. But also her armor is just mostly a black top if you do it right. Also, if you just don't draw armor at all. All right, let's see. Let's do my 10. I don't often use the 10 when I'm drawing like this, but it has its uses. When it is able, when it's not dried out. Well, darn. And it's dried out, so I can't even use it. Ain't that fun? Let's see if you're gonna work. And you're working pretty good. All right, cool. This is actually better because I can just add some extra stuff over here. I was thinking about giving her a belt, but because her waist is so low to the camera, well, the page, didn't really make sense to do. I do love this one, this specific pen, but the problem is that the line weights are all the same, and I can't vary it too much. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna be a little sneaky when I move around like this. Also, that's a tangent. Let's avoid the tangent and go this way. Go that way. There we go. Leave that right there, a little bit of gap right there for coloring, even though I'm not going to actually color this, it just makes sense to do that. All right, so let's add a little bit of and all right, something like that. That looks good. I like it. The eyebrow just a little bigger with this marker before I completely dismiss it. Let's see, anything else I'm missing? The entire armor piece looks good, but I added some chainmail right here. All right, time to switch it. I added some chainmail under her arm right here. I should have added it under the armor itself. Let's see how good this Lamy actually does when it comes to making chainmail. It's actually pretty good. There are some depictions of magic with chainmail, but I'm not too sure where I've seen them. It just makes, for a character like this with this much armor and just prowess and stuff like that, it makes sense for her to have it. I drew this spalder over too far. And I have to correct that, put that here. And go this way, there we go. All right, I know where the light source is, so a lot of this is already going to be in shadow. So don't have to worry too much about that. I am going to have to finish up the chest armor. I wanted this to be an amulet right here, but I wasn't sure if I actually cared for that. I might just do a couple of scribbles and make it look like some chains and some belts. Oop, tangent. Avoid that. And let that come down like that. All right, so let's do that. Just a little bit of hatching right here to make everything come together. I do like the spike bracelet that she had, or at least, is it on? If it's on your hand, does it count as a bracelet, or is it more like a set of knuckle dusters? Anyway, she has a 3 spiked band of knuckle dusters on her hands, and I always like that. It's basically on the top of her hand. Now I'm pretty sure there are other versions of Magic that actually have that, but I always like that. Very very interesting little piece of character design. All right. Let's do chisel brush. Chisel brush, I actually have spent the last 8 years of my life trying to master and get right. Chisel brush is something that is super difficult to get right, because if you don't do it right, you can get different line weights on the same piece that don't actually make sense. But if you do it right, you can make something look a little bit more seamless. Not seamless, what's the word? You can make something look just a little bit more put together. I'll say it like that. All right, let's do some hatching down here to cover up this bottom. So I'm not gonna need it. We're actually not gonna need most of this, but don't want to cover up too much of it. Let's see right here. Not gonna need most of this. There we go. A little better. Same thing from here, so I actually don't need to clean all this up. Chisel brush is doing its work properly, mostly. So let's see right here. And light is coming this way, so it'll come this way. This one is supposed to be bent, so let's see. Actually the wrong direction, but I'm gonna leave that right there for right now. This one is the same direction. Let's see, so one thing I don't like about inking is that I have to remember all of the directions that I had in mind when I was initially drawing and sketching. But the best thing about it is that I've been doing so many of my sketches with this, with my, where is it? I've been doing so many of them with my red checkmark pencil that I don't even have to worry too much about, messing up or having to erase, because everything can be covered up efficiently in the best way possible, or at least I think it can be. I'm getting a very strange feeling of deja vu right now. All right, let's get those hands. I'm not too hard on my hands right now because they are gloved. And one trick that I teach a lot is that when you have gloved hands, sometimes the hands don't actually look like hands. So if your anatomy is off, you can just say that it's because of the gloves. It's not your fault that you can't draw hands properly or that you're out of practice. I'm going to fill this whole thing in right here. See, right there, there. Let's see if I can make this wait just a little bit. I'm really challenging myself to do this. I'm really challenging myself to use this chisel brush. Really challenging myself. But I think I'm doing a better job than I thought. I always try to avoid the chisel brush. Again, it's like too much line variation that I'm not used to. Not enough stuff that I am used to. Let's see, brush pen. All right. Drawing her antlers are always fun. I don't really know what these are called. I just call them antlers because why not? Let's see. So this one's going to be black for the most part. I think they're all black, but I'm not going to color in too much just yet. This brush pen is pretty good. Highly recommend it. Is it better than my own homemade brush pen that I made years ago and still use? Yeah, kind of, but mine can be used in a whole bunch of different ways. All right, let's cover up a little bit of that with that. Oh yeah, she has blonde hair, so I can't do too much dark area like this. I'm trying to keep in mind where the colors would be if I were to actually color this. It's difficult, but I see where most of them are for the most part. So I'm gonna leave that there for right now. Let's do that, that, and that. Then, so that one's good, that one's good. This whole thing is gonna be in some shadows. Right. Trying to build up a little bit of texture on the arm before I do anything else too crazy. So let's go ahead and do that now. And cross hatching in. Whenever I'm dealing with metals, because I hate drawing metal or trying to render it in any way, I always just give it a little bit of extra texture, especially if the metal is black/silver. Gold metal is gold metal. Gold types of metals/armors are definitely something that I try to stay away from because I am not used to those. Not used to them at all, actually. Breaking my other rule of not turning the entire canvas over in order to do something like this, but rules were made to be broken, so why not? So that looks good for the most part. Let's see, I need to, because the fingers are not going to be fully visible. There is a thing going over her stomach like this. I just pulled up a reference that I forgot to use, and it confirmed some stuff that I just was thinking about, so I love that. And go back this way. And let's see right there. All right. So magic is mostly done. I say that as soon as I say that, I start adding on to some more stuff. I actually need to block this out right here. Made a mistake. There we go, right there. I think I can recover it. If I can, I'll just block over the whole thing. Won't worry about it. Let's add some more stuff onto the sword. Let's see, right there. Right there, right there. All right, keep that for right now. That's Darkchild's jaw right there. All right, cool. For the most part, we are done, completed, fully done something like that. I don't know. I'm just here so I won't get fined. All right, so that is magic. Now, my main decision I need to make is whether or not, first off, does this work? This works, cool. All right. So, do I want to use thicker lines or not? That's my main thing that I want to figure out. I might want to. Looks good. Oh yeah, I forgot I drew this eye completely off kilter. Very funny. But it works. It works like a charm for the most part. Let's see right here. There. And here. Let's see. The rest of the chain goes for the sword. Don't need to do that. Let's see. Add a little bit of the philtrum, just a little bit under that nose, just a little bit. Ever since I figured out what the philtrum was all those years ago, I try to add it to everything I can do, everything that I can. Now the rest of this head is mostly just broad strokes and gesture and a couple of Z's. Don't tell anybody though. The secret ingredient to art is mostly just Z's. And then if your character looks like a giant rock, it's a 1,000 times easier to it's 1,000 times easier to completely just make up things as you go. And let's see, right there. All right, that is mostly it here. So let's add our dark strokes. I'm hoping I'll be able to get to the other one because this right here is already draining my energy. I'm having fun, but my goodness, was not expecting for it to be this much. I do love the ink. I do love the inking process, but it is sometimes it is sometimes more of a drain than the actual drawing process. With the inking process, you're locking down some of the things that you've drawn and are finalizing things, but sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Sometimes it feels like you are completely overdoing or doing over the things that you have been able to lock in and draw out. But it's like, wow, okay, cool. So now we just have to add stuff and subtract. But then the question is, what do you subtract and what do you add? A thing I've always been privy to in the realm of comic books is that you always want to make sure that you do your stuff right, because if you don't draw everything correctly, the inker can go over your work in the comic book and completely draw over your work, and everything that you were doing is no longer done. everything that you were doing doesn't count. That was always a fear of mine whenever I actually did do comic stuff. So this part right here is the back of the other side of the head. So I can clear most of this in black. Let's see, shave that off right there. Get this right here. And there we go. And add this part up here. Let's see. Thinking, oh, let's go ahead and color her antlers in. Leave just a little bit of it on the side for the highlights. But I'll cover the rest of it here. That also blends in some stuff and covers some stuff that I don't need to have seen. I'll leave the bottom of this one as well, since the light source is mostly in front of them. Just a little bit of that right there. It's always a fun challenge doing metal like this, because a lot of this is going to end up being gray, which I could easily just color in myself. But it's always fun to just figure out where the light is going to hit the metal properly, and then replicate the opposite, get that shadow in, and then work backwards. Or at least that's what I always think. It's hard to talk about the process when you are doing it when you are in the process of doing it. But I always seem to do it properly. There I go, drawing off page again. This is actually a good way to do the silhouette, because most of this is going to be, you know what, I'm just going to cover all this in black. It was fun while it lasted, but I don't need it. I do need the spaces in between it, though. And let's do an area right here. So this area right here is supposed to be something along the lines of, I don't know. And I will leave it to you all to interpret. I do like doing this though. as much as I like doing this, I need to do this with the marker. I need to not do this with my brush. I need to do this with a little bit of this right here. So let's get that with a nice texture, and I think that's good enough right here. So now, do a little bit of a dip, and that's enough right there. All right, so gonna leave just a little bit of free space between Magik and the actual dark area. I like doing this specifically because it gives you that nice set of brush tones that you can't just get with a full brush. Nice little shades of gray in this area that you can't always achieve. And then got to make sure your finger doesn't get dirty, but whatever. Cover this as well. Sculpting it in, getting that texture and that pattern that I'm getting from the actual napkin itself. Just close enough to be able to see something abstract in it. Let it touch it on this side right here. Then load it back up. Oh, darn. I got a little bit on her armor. Let's see. Let's clean that up right now. Happy little accident right here, but that's okay. Because a lot of this is actually going to end up being in shadow anyway. Let's see, can I cover it? Can I just press it over just a little bit? I think I can. Do just a little bit of black back here as well, under the hair, since this part of the hair is going to be mostly in shadow. There we go, separate it just a little bit from the texture that I put down. Darkchild got a little bit on the face as well. Let's add that right there. Press on it just a little bit. Come down that way. All right. Let's see. I think I'm missing something. Missing this up here somewhere. All right, let's add just a little bit more here. Add some more stuff here as well. Let's see. A couple of strokes of texture before I get into the nitty-gritties. And bop, 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 bop. At this point, I'm just peppering in some shadows that don't necessarily need to be here, but why not? fill up this right here. Let's build out a silhouette here. This covers up here, and that comes out right there. Just something like that. I like that. That looks well. Don't think I'm missing anything just yet. What I'm going to do now is come that way. This part here, this little stamping, stamping technique, that's what I like to call it. This is one of my favorite parts of the inking process because I don't really have to put much, I'm lying to myself. I actually have to put a lot more thought into this part because I don't want to mess around and put ink where it doesn't need to be. It's still fun though, and it's what I'm going to have to do in the next one, which I'm thinking might actually have to be its own video now, but yeah. I thought I could do both of these in like 2 hours, but schedule is scheduling. Let's leave some space up here where the head is. Get down there. Get to touch on it just a little bit right there. And oh, that scratch is going to kill me. Can't get enough of it though. All right. And at this point, I'm just scratching the entire page. It's working though, but that's basically what a lot of this ends up being. I think I scratched all the ink out. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Yep, scratched all the ink out. That's funny. All right, let's fill in these spaces just a little bit. Don't even have to go in a straight line with these, which is great. All right. All right, got enough of her shadow and silhouette here. I need some more of this one here. There we go. Let me build that out just a little bit right there. Then right there. There. Just a little bit more hair by way of shadows and blocks, because why not? Okay, cool. And get the rest of that out on that end right here. Okay. That is what I would like to call done, mostly. Until I add something else, which I'm probably going to. Thinking about this lip earlier. Want to make some extra changes to it. And the neck too, just a little bit. Okay. Now, officially done, I think, mostly. Officially done. Officially done, as I say, continuing to draw. But philosophically, nothing's ever fully done, right? Or something like that, I don't know. All right. I think that's it. I believe that is it, for now at least. With all that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining me on this little inking session that I decided to do because I wanted to get work done, and I was like, it'd be easier if I just put a camera on and just did some stuff. So I think I did something right today. But with all that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like, comment your favorite Marvel Rivals character or favorite Marvel character, because yeah, why not? Mine is, I'm not going to tell you because you'll find out later. I'm probably going to go ahead and do this next one a little later. I'll probably still record it too, but right now I think that's enough. once again, with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I will check you all later.